Alright, so we're going to talk about the history of music stores in Gainesville as far as I'm aware and my knowledge. So, like, James, even though I'm recording, we can still be conversational about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
And I know nothing, so I'm going to ask all the right questions.
Yeah, that's good. So, the oldest music store in Gainesville technically actually is Lillian's Music Store. However, many decades ago, they stopped selling music stuff, and now they sell just alcohol. It's a bar downtown, and they have live music. But a long time ago, they used to sell music instruments and sheet music, and that was the place you went to buy that kind of stuff. Then after that, opened up Lipham's Music. And I want to tell you that Lipham's Music, when it closed, was like 50-something years old, so I don't know exactly what year they opened, but Lipham's Music closed this year. So if they were 50-something years old, that means that they opened up in the 60s, I think. And Lipham's Music was kind of one of these legendary places because there's a lot of history there. Some of the members of the Eagles grew up in Gainesville, and so they would shop at Lipham's Music for like their guitars or whatever. Tom Petty grew up in Gainesville and started his music career in Gainesville, and he actually worked at Lipham's Music for a long time. I know there's more history than that, but those are some of the big things that I can point out. And so after Lipham's Music, there were a bunch of other stores that opened up over the years, in no particular order, but in my approximate guess of order. There was a place called University Music that opened up.
Where was that? It
was on University Avenue, and even while I was in this town, I've only been here for 15 years now. Even in the time that I was here, I think University Music moved 2 or 3 times, but they were always on University Avenue. Another place that opened up was called Pro Frets, and I'm not exactly sure when they closed, but the guys that owned that place are actually still around, but they do other things. They all decided that they wanted to get real jobs, and so they did that and closed Pro Frets. So they all still play music around town, but they closed that business. Another place that opened up, and this is pretty interesting, it was a place called Tobin Music. Tobin is famous now for making world-class tuners and metronomes. You've probably heard of them.
Yeah.
So the Tobin headquarters is actually up 441 on the way to Alachua. But they don't sell music instruments anymore. They got out of the retail business, and now they design and manufacture and sell to stores and distributors metronomes and tuners, and I imagine they probably do other things too, but that's the extent of what I know about that. Other music stores that opened up, there was Paramore Music. They were out west. Actually, they were in the mall for a long time, and their big focus was pianos, but they did carry other stuff. So they were in the mall for a long time, and then they moved out towards the skate station, whatever that place is out there. So they were out there, and they had a store here in Gainesville, and they had a store in Ocala. There was a place called Band Central Station that opened up in the 90s, mid-90s, I want to say. The guys that opened that up, one of them is married to a children's award-winning song artist lady. She lives in Gainesville. But they weren't the owners of the place for too long. They got it to become one of the largest, become the largest music store in Gainesville. And then I guess they had a falling out in their partnerships with whoever else was running the business, and so it got sold to some other guy. I'll get back to that in a minute. What else was open? There was a place called Tim and Terry's. Tim and Terry's was really interesting. It was a convenience store / bar / live music venue with a patio, and then upstairs they had a music store, a retail music store, and a lot of the stuff they sold was like used stuff, and they did repairs. I might be forgetting about some other music stores, but let me explain the landscape now. University Music. Oh, there was another place called Sims Music. That was a really popular place, and that was over by kind of towards the mall, between the mall and like 34th Street. They were like in between there. And there was a karate place next to them for a long time. I think that karate place might still be there. So that's that. Okay, so here we are today. Studio Percussion starts up in 2002, and I just started out of my house teaching drum lessons. And then a year later, after starting some group classes, we get into our first commercial location. And then a couple years after that, we moved to another commercial location on 6th Street, and that's when we really started growing up. And we started expanding into other instruments, and things started going really well for us. And then we got it featured on Extreme Makeover. After that, we moved to our current location as of 2014. We had a bit of a downsizing because of the changes in how we did our business. We had a falling out with my ex-wife and a bunch of stuff. She tried to do bad for the business, unfortunately. And the location change affected the business. So we had a lot of different things affect our business, but now we're growing again and figured out how to make our current space and location work. So for now, we're going to stay there. So we started our business in 2002. Approximately 2006-ish, Band Central Station goes out of business, and we actually had stricken up a partnership with them about that time, where we kind of referred business back and forth. They weren't heavy into drums, really, for being as large as they were. It was kind of surprising. So we would refer our drum students to them. They didn't have a drum teacher or anything. So we were helping them out, and they were helping us out with the lessons and stuff. We started our retail store a little bit after they closed, about 2006 or so. And when they closed, a new place called Hogtown Music opened up. One of the former employees of Band Central Station bought all their old inventory, started up his new store, Hogtown Music. A little bit after that got started up, another place opened up called Great Southern Music. They mostly do lessons, but they do some retail. So Lillian's Music Store is now just a bar, and it has been for many decades. Lipham's Music, as of this year, is closed. Sim's Music closed something around 2007 or 8-ish or so, 2009 maybe. University Music closed, and I don't even really know when they closed. I just realized they weren't there one day. Maybe 2008, 2007-ish. I think I just mentioned it, but Sim's Music closed. Tim and Terry's closed a few years back. Pro Frets closed a long time ago, but they were an important store here. So Big Music closed their actual store a long time ago. Paramore Music closed their stores here in Gainesville a few years ago. I'm not sure who I'm leaving out. But at this point, the only music stores open are us, and we're the oldest music store in Gainesville now. That's still a music store. Then the next oldest, I believe, is Hogtown Music. And then the next oldest after that is Great Southern Music. And then the next oldest after that, which is the newest store in Gainesville, which is Guitar Center, which opened up about a year ago. Band Central Station had a music store for a while. That lasted a couple years.